What's the question?
Could you give life examples of what the needs look like being fulfilled?
That is a good question. So for certainty, for instance, you will pick a job that has benefits, long-term benefits, company been around a long time, and you know that you're gonna have a job for a very long time. Security. When it comes to love, you're not gonna pick the person who you really want. You're gonna pick the person who makes enough money, is consistent and stable. They're about the same all the time. There's not much variance to them. You can predict them. So certainty is number one. That's how you would choose certainty in love. When it comes to health, you would choose to do all the things that health requires. You would probably run every day, probably eat about the same foods. You probably wouldn't eat outside of the foods that you normally eat. You want certainty. You want to be sure about your body. Uncertainty needs. So when it comes to relationship, you like the risk. You like to choose a person who you have no idea what they will be like. Usually basket cases, to be real. Usually people who have mental issues, just being real. Because they're the most creative, they're the most exciting, they're willing to do anything. People who are who come up in very, very restricted, strict backgrounds start looking and seeking out uncertainty because their lives were forced to be so certain. Uncertainty in business.